I'll go ahead and admit it. The commercials for the Ninja Foodi Neverstick pan got to me. I don't really use any nonstick cookware. I've been happy with the stainless pots and pans that I've had for going on over 20 years now. But I do know that Ninja generally makes pretty good products. And I was a little intrigued by the type of nonstick coating that they're using on their Neverstick pans. So I did want to try one out. I purchased this locally, and this is the only size they had, although I would have really preferred the larger 12-inch over this 10 1/4. They do have several large sets of cookware, and they have a variety of different sized pots and pans. If you've seen the commercial or any of the infomercials, they scrub one of these nonstick coatings with 40,000 scrubs. Now, I'm not going to do that because I actually want to use this pan if it works out and if it's as nonstick as they say it is. They do mention that other pans bake on their nonstick coating at about 900 degrees, but they bake theirs on at 30,000 degrees. Now, I'm not a big fan of nonstick coatings at all because they almost always end up chipping or flaking or scratching or something like that. Now, Ninja says they do not use any PFOA in these and they won't chip or flake like traditional nonstick coatings. And they also won't wear down. I did find one review showing the coating separating from the pan itself, but by and large, the reviews looked pretty good. Now, they do prominently display the Neverstick lifetime guarantee right here on the pan. But if you look further over right here, you can see that it says, when used as directed, lifetime based on 5 years of use. When I first thought about it, I thought that was being a little bit disingenuous because most of us think lifetime either means our lifetime or as long as we have the product. But after thinking about it a little bit more, I get what they're saying. That the lifespan of any pot or pan is probably not going to be the same as the lifetime of the user. So I'm actually okay with that. Now, this 10 1/4 inch frying pan cost $50. And no lid was even included with that, although it would have been really nice if they included one at this price point. But if the pan only lasts 5 years, I basically pay $10 a year, so that's less than $1 per month. And if it's as nonstick as they say it is, that's really a bargain. When you first pick the pan up, it has a little weight to it. It's not quite as heavy as cast iron would be, but it is more substantial than a lot of pans that I've used. Now, one of the things that I did like about this pan is they make the bottom thicker and they add stainless steel, unlike a lot of other pans. So in addition to adding better heat absorption for the pan, it also adds a little weight to it, so it's not going to slide around quite as easy while you're cooking. Another thing that separates this from most nonstick pots and pans is that you can use metal utensils with it, and they're dishwasher safe. They say that you can go from stove to oven at a maximum of 500 degrees. And that's really nice for cooking things like steak when you want to sear them in the pan and then finish them in the oven. It also has a really nice stainless handle that's riveted on. It'll be interesting to see how much heat actually transfers from the pan to the handle and if it gets too hot during cooking. But I think that pretty much does it for the main points of this pan. So let me get it unwrapped, washed up, and ready to do some cooking. To heat up my Ninja Foodi Neverstick, I'm going to be using my cheap little hot plate because it's much easier to film right here on the counter rather than filming on my stove. Before I actually start cooking, I'm going to use my infrared thermometer to check the difference in heat on the base of the Ninja Foodi Neverstick and the sides. Because in the infomercial they show the Ninja Neverstick doing a much better job of maintaining a more uniform temperature across the whole pan versus regular aluminum pans where the sides would get like 300 degrees hotter than the base of the pan. I'm showing anywhere from 350 to about 397 degrees at the base. And the side is actually running about 220. So from the looks of it, it's doing a pretty good job of maintaining the heat better than traditional pans. It actually heated up very quick. On the commercial, they show a fried egg just sliding around with no oil or butter. So I think that's going to be the first test that I'm going to do. We'll let that set in here and see if it'll slide around like it did for them. It's showing the base of the pan is about 300 degrees right now. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and check and see if it's sticking or if it's not. And I don't know, I wouldn't exactly call this non-stick. Let's check a little bit thicker areas. And I don't know, it looks like it's sticking pretty good. I've never actually seen non-stick cookware stick this bad. Let me see if I can turn this over. Well, I was able to turn part of it over, except for the part that stuck to the pan. This is very disappointing because, as I said earlier, most of the Ninja products have been really good, at least the ones that I've used. And to have non-stick stick this bad, that just doesn't really seem to make sense. If I use the spatula to pull it, it comes off, but this is clearly sticking, so it's kind of hard to call it non-stick when you actually see the stuff sticking to it. I don't feel any heat translating into the part of the handle that you grab right now though, so the handle is staying cool. I'm going to turn this egg over again a little bit, and really, even this part's sticking too. I've checked the temperature several times at the base of the pan and the side, and they are right that it's doing a really good job of maintaining the temperature. Unfortunately, it's not doing a very good job of keeping the food from sticking. Some of it's coming off fairly easy, it's kind of flaking off, but I still wouldn't exactly call it non-stick if a simple egg is sticking. Eggs are always a good thing to try to see if something that's non-stick is actually going to be non-stick. So there you have it for my fried egg. I'm going to call this one a fail, but I'm not quite done with the eggs yet. I want to try something else and give it another shot. Maybe the temperature wasn't high enough or something, I'm not really sure. But I'm not going to dismiss the Ninja Foodi Neverstick just yet. I gave the pan some time to cool, so let's see how easy it is to get this residue off of the bottom of it. That was surprisingly easy. Most everything came off with just a soft part of this sponge, and I really didn't have to do any scrubbing or anything like that. So it does clean up easy. I'm going to cook some more eggs. This time I have the pan heated up to about 425 degrees. So let's pour some eggs in here, which would be either for scrambled eggs or maybe an omelet, and see what happens. Okay, it's been cooking for a couple minutes, so let's see if they are sticking. And they are not. Much more impressed this time than the first time I cooked the eggs. So I'll let these cook just a little bit longer. After cooking the second batch of eggs, it looks like the Ninja Foodi Neverstick is actually doing what it's supposed to do. This time, nothing stuck. So I think I'm going to like this pan if it continues to cook this way. Since the non-stick properties of this pan are looking up now, let's do a couple more tests and try it out even a little further. I've got a couple pieces of candy, which I'll stick right here, and some cheese. And we'll let these cook down and see just how well they release after they get kind of burned and stuck on. I think that's pretty good, so I'm going to let the pan cool down a few minutes and then we'll check it out. So let's see how easy our candy and our burnt cheese come out. That didn't come out as easy as I was hoping for. Let's see. Let's move on to the cheese for just a moment. Cheese came out super easy. As a matter of fact, absolutely nothing stuck. Now back to the candy. They actually did this on the infomercial, so that's why I wanted to try this test. We got a little bit stuck right here, Let's see if I can kind of flake that off. Now they did stick, and I realized that this is extreme, but like I said, this was something that they did on the infomercial, so thought that it would be a pretty good test. Alright, so scraping at it with my fingernail actually got it out, and as far as I can see, there's no residue stuck on left. So technically it did stick, but it came out really easy. So I would say as an overall with the cheese and the candy, I'm pretty happy with the results. After the initial washing the pan to get the stuck egg out, I've only been wiping it with a paper towel since then, and it's getting all the food residue and everything out really easy. So that's all I'm cleaning it with. Next up, I'm gonna pan fry a New York strip. I've got a little rub on the steak, which is not something that I normally do, but I did want to try this one out. I'm going to let this sear on each side, and then I'll finish it off in the oven. Alright, let me turn this over and see what it looks like. Oh yeah, super nice. That seasoning I put on it looks really good. It's got a pretty nice sear on it. And again, I'm working with a fairly small hot plate here, so I'm kind of impressed with how well the Ninja Neverstick pan is working with the small hot plate. Now it's time to go into the oven for a few minutes. You can hear that sizzle. And I only cooked it for 450 at 5 minutes. So I'll let this cool off, and then we'll cut into it and see what it looks like. The steak is cooled down, so let's cut into it and have a look. A really nice steak. Now I know it's not as pink in the middle as a lot of people would like it, but I typically prefer to not have any pink in the middle. But either way, the Ninja Neverstick Foodie did a really good job of searing the steak, and I like the fact that I could go directly from the burner into the oven. So here's what's left in the pan after I cook my steak. So let's see how easy it's going to be to clean it out. Well, I wouldn't exactly call this spotless. Just wiping it out with the paper towels did a very good job. And there's really nothing stuck to the bottom at all. One more thing that I want to cook in the Ninja Foodi Neverstick is chicken parmesan. And I'd really like to see how well the Ninja Foodi Neverstick is going to do with it. I've got my oil heated up to about 350 degrees. So I'll set my chicken in there for about 2 or 3 minutes, and then I'll turn it. Time to turn these. I think they're about ready. If you're wondering why I've been setting everything on this side of the pan, it's because the counter that I'm cooking on is a little bit unlevel. So everything tends to run to this side like the oil. Plus, this side is making a little bit better contact with the hot plate. The smaller chicken breast is done. So I'm going to pull that off. And now this piece is also ready. Just look at that beautiful golden brown crust that the panko breadcrumbs and the Parmesan cheese made. Next, I'll pour out the oil from the Ninja Foodi Neverstick and then finish the chicken Parmesan. I've got my pan cleaned up. So first I'm going to place some marinara in the bottom of my pan. I'll place my chicken inside. Add some Parmesan cheese to the top. And this is going to go into the oven at 450 degrees for just a few minutes. And here is my chicken Parmesan straight out of the oven. Looks beautiful. Let's see if anything's stuck. Nope, nothing stuck at all. One more thing I want to test in the Ninja Foodi Neverstick is cake. I'm going to bake a chocolate cake in here. And as you know, if you're baking a cake, you're supposed to either use no-stick cooking spray or shortening and flour to dust the bottom of the pan or whatever you're cooking in. I don't think I mentioned it earlier, but Ninja says to not use any no-stick cooking spray in their pans. So we'll see how the cake does, just pouring it directly in and then going into the oven. I don't think this pan is going to be big enough for all the batter, but I think it'll give us a pretty good idea of if the cake is going to stick or not. So let me put this in the oven and see how it turns out. Okay, the cake is done, and I cooked it about 25 minutes. It seemed to be cooked all the way through. So let's see if it stuck to the Ninja Foodi Neverstick. And remember, I didn't use any type of non-stick spray, flour, or anything else. There is a little stickage in here. I don't think it's that bad. As a whole, the cake came out pretty good. Let's see how bad this residue is stuck. Oh, not at all. I mean, it comes right off. It's just sitting on the surface. So really not a problem at all. I'm pretty impressed with how well the Ninja Foodi Neverstick did with the cake. Now that I've had a chance to use the Ninja Foodi Neverstick and I've been able to use it on a variety of different things, I have to say I really like this pan. Although things got off to a rocky start with the first cook, and I'm still not sure why the egg didn't cook properly and it stuck. Maybe my temperature wasn't quite high enough, although it was at 300 and something degrees, so that should have been plenty high enough for the egg. But everything after that has not stuck. And I wanted to note that except for when I used the Ninja Foodi Neverstick in the oven, none of the heat really translated to the part of the handle that you're going to hold. So that was no issue at all. I used metal utensils. There's no scratching. The finish is still good. I've cooked in the oven up to 450 degrees, and that was no issue at all. Everything that you saw me cook in the pan, I didn't cook it one time. I've been testing it for a little while now, and I've cooked more than the things that I showed on the video. I didn't want to include everything because the video would be too long. But you can see right here, I fried catfish in the pan. I've cooked some etouffee, among many other things that I didn't take photos or videos of. But the pan has worked great other than that first time I cooked on it, and nothing has stuck since. So I'm very happy with the way it worked. That's going to do it for this video. If you enjoyed it, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing to the channel. As always, I appreciate you watching, and I'll see you in the next video.